So we'll start by settling the body, finding a stable, comfortable, upright position serviceable for meditation. So we think about keeping our feet flat and our back straight, torso open, hands in the lap right over left with the palms upturned and the thumbs gently touching. Our eyes are gently closed or slightly open, making sure that we let in enough light to remain alert. We try to avoid slouching or leaning. We also let go of any unnecessary tension in the body, relaxing into a stable, comfortable, upright position. Allowing the body to fall into place. Letting go of attending to the environment. Pulling back our awareness and constraining it just to the body and mind. Concentrating that awareness in the present moment by attending closely to the physical sensation of the air moving into and back out of the tip of the nostrils. Noticing quickly when anything other than that one physical sensation is arising in the mind, and without judgment or frustration, lifting our awareness up from that distraction and placing it gently but firmly again and again on the breath. then by way of establishing our motivation, we think that it's not enough to ensure that I alone avoid suffering in this and future lives. I must become completely free from cyclic existence, the endless round of death and rebirth. But even this is insufficient. For every sentient being has been my mother, not just once, but countless times over beginningless past lives. And each has cared for me, just like the mother of this life has cared for me. I think I have depended upon them for all happiness that I've ever experienced. All of the food, the clothes, the education, the shelter, the entertainment. All of these have come from the kindness of others. These kind mother sentient beings are stuck, trapped in this cycle of death and rebirth. Bringing to mind people we know and thinking of the difficulties that they face. And thinking just as oneself deeply wishes to be free of all suffering and to achieve only happiness, so too do all sentient beings. And try to feel the need to take on the responsibility of freeing these sentient beings from their suffering. To think in order to do that, I must myself become enlightened. And the principal cause of the mind of enlightenment is realization of bodhicitta. And so for that reason I will practice training the mind in bodhicitta through the mind training of the 8 verses. with that motivation, we'll begin contemplating the 8 verses. But we'll first establish a visualization of Avalokiteshvara, the Buddha of compassion. Seeing that manifestation as inseparable from one's root guru. Could be His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, whoever in this life we've most benefited from, seeing their mind. And Avalokiteshvara's mind is the same. His body is comprised of pure white light and radiates rainbow light of 5 colors: white, red, blue, green, and yellow. He has a gentle smile and looks at you and all other beings with eyes of great compassion. He has 4 arms. The hands of the first 2 are together at his heart, and he holds a precious jewel that can fulfill the wishes of all sentient beings. His other right hand is at the level of the shoulder and holds a crystal rosary, and the other left hand holds a white lotus. He's seated in the full Vajra position on a lotus and moon disk. He wears exquisite silks and precious jeweled ornaments. An antelope skin covers his left shoulder and breast. The entire visualization is of radiant white light. The first verse is with the thought of attaining enlightenment for the welfare of all beings who are more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel. I will constantly practice holding them dear. With the thought of attaining enlightenment for the welfare of all beings who are more precious than wish-fulfilling jewels, I will constantly practice holding them dear. So we recognize that our deepest wish is spiritual growth and development, culminating perhaps in the state of full enlightenment, and for this goal we depend entirely on the field of sentient beings. All of our good qualities are generated in dependence upon being in relation to sentient beings. The practice of ethics, generosity, patience, loving kindness. All of these qualities depend upon being in relation to sentient beings. The mind of bodhicitta itself depends upon the existence of suffering sentient beings. So in this way, every time that we meet any sentient being, whether outwardly they seem to be helpful, or they seem to be creating difficulty, we try to recognize that for us they are a wish-fulfilling jewel, speeding us on our journey to enlightenment. Providing the ground of our practice. So visualize that light rays and nectars descend from Avalokiteshvara, purifying the self-cherishing thought that prevents me from seeing all sentient beings as a wish-fulfilling jewel. And cutting me off from truly cherishing others. This mind of self-grasping and self-cherishing is washed away by the light and nectar pouring forth from Avalokiteshvara's heart, bestowing the realization of this contemplation. And then the second verse. Whenever I am with others, I will practice seeing myself as the lowest of all, and from the very depths of my heart, I will hold others dear and supreme. So here we are not giving in to a mind of low self-esteem, but rather we're voluntarily taking on the mental training of emphasizing how we can be of service to those around us. This isn't a method of putting oneself down or feeling bad about oneself, but it's a training to elevate concern for others. Cultivating the view of oneself as a servant to sentient beings. Try to recognize, thinking back over past weeks, months, when we interact with others individually or in groups. What's the attitude in the mind? Are we interacting to try to get some benefit for oneself? How focused are we on attending to the needs of others? If you do find examples when you can identify that more selfless view, then rejoice in those instances. And try to set a determination to intentionally go into these interactions with that view. Resting your mind in that strong determination. And then think that light rays and nectars pouring forth from Avalokiteshvara purify the obstacle of deluded pride, giving rise to humility, and then when you're ready, we'll come back together. And we'll continue with the 8 verses next week. So we dedicate, we recollect our altruistic motivation. Think that by having engaged in this contemplation, we've actualized that motivation, created positive energy in the mind. We cultivate a sense of freely offering the fruit of that practice for the benefit of all sentient beings without exception. May it serve as a cause and condition to eliminate war, conflict, poverty, disease, disasters, famines, all painful inner and outer conditions. Thinking may it fully ripen the minds of all sentient beings. May they quickly meet perfect teachers and arise in the state of full enlightenment. May I too achieve the state of enlightenment in order to work for the benefit of sentient beings perfectly. May any obstacles facing the Guru's long life be completely dispelled, and may I and all sentient beings come under the joyful care and guidance of enlightened beings in this moment. May we be guided and protected until we swiftly achieve that state of enlightenment. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable Dondrub.